Hey guys, welcome back to Pine Haven Acres. So today we are on week 13 of evaluating this litter. Super excited. They are looking older every single week that we do this. So we're going to do it again in the same order that we have been doing. If you haven't already watched our last two videos of evaluating this litter, please go check that out. We are tracking the growth and development of this litter because they change so much every single week. So it's been fun just to see how they change and what characteristics they are growing into. So this week, because they're 13 weeks old, we are trying to aim for a weight between 6 and about 6 1/4 for pounds. So we're going to weigh these girls and then get to evaluating each one. Alright, this is our first doe. She was the most silvered out of the litter for the last couple of weeks. And she gained 4 ounces since last week. I am filming this a day or two before I would have if it's exactly 7 days apart. So she's probably going to gain another ounce in the next couple of days. So we're giving a little bit of grace on that. But she's coming up on 6 pounds, so I think she's looking pretty good as far as weight goes. So now we'll get her posed up here. So she's carrying a pretty good amount of depth this far. Top line is looking pretty decent. From the top view, her shoulders are more narrow than they were last week, so they don't balance as well as I'd like to see. But her loin's still good. She's got pretty decent width to her. Her coat is still very soft, and I'm gonna just take a guess that it's gonna stay soft as an adult. Her mom has a soft coat and her dad kind of does. But it has very good length and standing quality to it. I really wish you guys could feel all of their coats through the screen. It's amazing just feeling a silver fox coat. And then as well as comparing textures, different lines, different silver fox rabbits are going to have just a different texture and coat. So it's nice to get your hands on them and feel the difference. But it's very, very soft and luscious, and you just want to make a pillow or a blanket out of it, honestly. A tip too that I wanted to mention is when you're evaluating silver foxes or you're looking for ones to buy and you see pictures online or a video, they oftentimes are posed with their coat up on ends like this. And if I push it down on the back end and I push it up on the top, it gives the illusion that they have much more depth than they actually do. So my tip to you would be, if you are advertising your silver foxes or you're just looking for one to buy, pose them with the coat all the way down, because then you can actually see the true body structure and form of the animal, and not have this, false depth. And it also fills in where the rabbit could be lacking, like in loin or shoulders, anything like that. So just to properly pose your animal, especially when it comes to silver foxes, it's definitely nice to see some pictures that have their coat all the way down, and then of course you can put it up and show that it has good length of their coat and standing quality. This is our second doe. Now she's the one that had the long shoulders and peaked too early and just didn't look super nice the last couple of weeks, and she only gained 3 ounces since last week, so that's not super great. She's now at 5 pounds 13 ounces. She looks a lot better from the side than she did last week, that's for sure. Looks like her peak has gotten better. She still has this shoulder dip here. From the top, she just looks pretty long and very narrow. Yeah, she still peaks a little early. It's getting a little better, I guess. Her loin is pretty decent. She's not really full down to the table, but I think she's definitely improved in the last couple of weeks. She's filling out a little bit better. Now her coat is not very even in silvering. She's pretty heavy on top, and then it doesn't carry that same evenness down here on the bottom and then around her neck. It's coming in pretty good on her head and ears though. She's still very black up there, but it looks like it's coming in pretty good. Coat texture is still soft. I think it's a little bit more coarse than our first does. And then this girl is also pretty pinched in her hindquarters. Alright, so this is our second doe. This is our third doe. She is still the heaviest out of the litter. She gained 6 ounces since last week. So now she's at 6 pounds, 6 ounces, which is excellent for her age. So we'll get this one posed up. So this is an example of being overposed. You can see her front foot is like touching her elbow, I guess you would call it. And it's not lined up with her hips way back here. So that's why I kind of reach forward and I pull them back so that they're at least, you know, closer to being lined up with her hips here. So that's what she looks like. I really like her width that she has. Her shoulders, like the other one, are looking a little bit narrower than last week. So the awkward stage kind of ebbs and flows. You know, one week their shoulders might not look balanced the rest of their body, but then the next week they filled in enough that, you know, now they balance, or their loin just isn't quite filled in and looking as nicely blended into their body as it should, but then the next week or two it starts to fill in. So when they're so young, it's good practice to grow them out for as long as you can, because some of it could be, you know, genetic and they're just gonna have bad loin as adult, or it's just them being a baby and still needing to grow and fill in and eat as much food as they can, you know, to really fill in. So I try to keep as many babies as I can to grow out as I have room for. I do have a small rabbitry, so I don't have a lot of cage space to grow everybody out, you know, for 16 plus weeks. But I try to pick through and which ones have the most potential that I can, you know, guess from just based off the lines that I'm breeding and whatnot. But yeah, so she's looking pretty good. Again, her coat is not as heavily silvered as her siblings. It's got decent texture to it. It's still very soft. But I love the standing quality of this whole litter. We'll see how the chocolate looks. But the blacks at least have very nice coats as far as length goes and the standing quality of them. This year I've been really trying to focus on improving my coat on all my rabbits, so this is a pretty good start. And then of course it's still pretty black on her head and ears. It's been coming in very slowly and sparsely, so I'm thinking she's not going to be as even and silvering all throughout her body as an adult. But she's got that nice chubby blocky head. She's a very sweet girl. And lastly, we have our little chocolate. She gained 5 ounces since last week, so now she's at 5 pounds 10 ounces. She seems to be taking longer to catch up to the other girls, but she's making huge improvements every single week. Definitely more filled in since last week. She's now feeling like a solid animal. She's not all skin and bones like she has been the last 2 weeks. And she's actually looking pretty decent now. She's still pretty, you know, rectangle shape. She doesn't really taper much in her hindquarter. but her loin is definitely better filled in, as well as her shoulders. I'd still like to see a little bit more depth on her, but her top line is looking much better. And yeah, great improvement since last week. Still coming in on that silvering. And her coat, if you can kind of see, it's flying back in place. It's more like a rollback coat. It's not standing up on end until I brush it back like her sister's. Now, one thing with the coat that I'm really trying to improve on my chocolates is how far the color goes into the hair shaft. So I'll try to get a shot of this, but when I'm looking at the coat, I'll like blow into it or just pull it apart like this. And the undercolor is like a gray, like a slate gray. And you want the top coat color, so in this case chocolate, to go as far into the hair shaft as possible, so you only have a tiny bit of gray. But you can see she has mostly a gray hair shaft. It's pretty much just the tips of each hair shaft that are chocolate. So that's what I'm working on this year with my chocolates. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on all of them. Even the one doe with the long shoulders, you know, she's filling out more and she's looking nicer than she has last 2 weeks. So we'll keep an eye on those, and I'm excited to see how they're going to look next week and the week after. We'll see how much improvement they make. It's probably going to slow down a little bit in their changes, but right now I'm expecting them to work on their silvering and coat texture, and then just fill in everywhere. Those are the three main things that I'm expecting now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.